What if I told you that some places on Earth look more like another planet? From frozen continents to glowing volcanoes, from endless deserts to underwater worlds. Today, we are exploring the wildest natural places ever discovered. Stay with me until the end, because the final destination might be the most breathtaking of all. What if there was a place on Earth so vast, so mysterious, and so alive that it could breathe like a living organism? A place where sunlight struggles to reach the ground, where the air vibrates with the sounds of unseen creatures, and where every step into the wilderness feels like entering another world entirely. Hidden within the heart of South America lies the greatest jungle on our planet, the legendary Amazon rainforest. Stretching across multiple countries and covering millions of square kilometers, the Amazon is often called the lungs of the earth. This immense green ocean of trees produces a significant portion of the world's oxygen while storing enormous amounts of carbon that help regulate the planet's climate. But statistics alone cannot capture the feeling of standing inside this jungle. The true wonder of the Amazon is the sense that nature here is not simply present. It is overwhelmingly powerful. The moment you enter the forest, the world changes. Towering trees rise more than 60 meters above the ground, their massive trunks wrapped in vines that twist upward toward the canopy. Layers of vegetation grow on every level, forming a dense living wall that surrounds you on all sides. Above, a thick green ceiling filters the sunlight into scattered beams that flicker across the forest floor. The jungle is never silent. In fact, the Amazon is one of the loudest natural environments on Earth. Birds call from high branches, insects buzz constantly in the humid air, and distant howler monkeys release haunting roars that echo through the trees like thunder. These sounds create a natural orchestra that continues day and night, reminding visitors that life here is always moving. At the center of this immense ecosystem flows the mighty Amazon River, one of the largest and most powerful rivers on Earth. Its winding channels stretch thousands of kilometers through the rainforest, carrying vast amounts of fresh water toward the Atlantic Ocean. From above, the river appears like a giant silver serpent cutting through the endless sea of green. Traveling along the river reveals another side of the Amazon's beauty. The dense forest lines the riverbanks, and hidden tributaries branch off into narrow waterways that lead deep into the wilderness. Small wooden boats glide across the calm surface, while pink river dolphins occasionally break through the water, adding a sense of magic to the journey. Wildlife thrives here in astonishing numbers. The Amazon rainforest is home to millions of species, many of which exist nowhere else on Earth. Brightly colored macaws flash across the sky like living rainbows, while poison dart. Frogs glow in brilliant shades of blue, red, and yellow on the damp forest floor. High in the canopy, sloths move slowly between branches, almost perfectly camouflaged among the leaves. Below them, troops of monkeys leap from tree to tree with surprising speed and agility. Each layer of the forest supports its own community of animals, forming a delicate balance that has evolved over millions of years. But the Amazon is not only a place of beauty, it is also a landscape of survival. Predators move quietly through the undergrowth, and hidden dangers exist in places where humans rarely look. The powerful jaguar, one of the most elusive big cats in the world, patrols the forest with silent confidence. In the rivers, massive anacondas glide through murky water, while schools of piranhas patrol beneath the surface. These creatures are reminders that the Amazon remains one of the last places on Earth where nature still rules without compromise. Yet, despite its wild reputation, the Amazon is also home to human communities who have lived here for centuries. Indigenous tribes have developed deep knowledge of the forest, learning how to survive and thrive in a place where the environment can be both generous and unforgiving. Their understanding of medicinal plants, wildlife behavior, and seasonal patterns reveals just how connected humans can become with nature when they live in harmony with the land. As the day slowly fades, the rainforest begins to transform. The golden light of sunset filters through the canopy, casting long shadows across the jungle floor. Birds settle into the trees, and the soundscape begins to shift. Night creatures awaken. Frogs begin their rhythmic calls. Insects grow louder, and the darkness of the forest becomes deeper and more mysterious. Beneath the thick canopy, the jungle seems almost alive, breathing slowly in the warm tropical air. Looking up through the gaps in the trees, the sky appears as small fragments of starlight, reminding visitors how isolated and ancient this world truly is. The Amazon rainforest represents one of the last great wildernesses on Earth. It is a place of incredible beauty, staggering biodiversity, and endless mystery. Every river, every tree, and every hidden creature contributes to an ecosystem so complex that scientists are still discovering new species every year. But this natural wonder also faces growing challenges from deforestation and climate change. Protecting the Amazon is not just important for South America. It is vital for the health of our entire planet. For travelers and explorers, visiting the Amazon is more than just a journey into the jungle. It is an experience that changes the way we see nature itself. Because here, in the depths of the rainforest, the world still feels wild, ancient, and wonderfully untamed. And yet, this is only the beginning of our journey across the most extreme natural places on Earth. Imagine standing in a place where the world feels untouched by time, a place where the wind carries nothing but the sound of ice cracking in the distance, where the horizon stretches endlessly in every direction, and where the silence is so deep it almost feels sacred. At the very bottom of our planet lies one of the most extreme and mysterious environments ever discovered, the frozen wilderness of Antarctica. This is the coldest, driest, and most remote continent on Earth. Covered by a massive ice sheet that can be several kilometers thick, Antarctica holds nearly 70% of the planet's fresh water locked inside its glaciers. From space, it appears as a brilliant white world, a vast frozen desert surrounded by some of the roughest oceans on Earth. Reaching Antarctica is an adventure in itself. Most travelers cross the powerful waters of the Drake Passage, a stretch of ocean famous for its towering waves and unpredictable weather. The journey can be intense, but when the first icy mountains appear on the horizon, the challenge suddenly feels worthwhile. Gigantic icebergs begin to rise from the sea like floating sculptures. Some are small and jagged, while others are massive walls of ice that tower high above the water. Their surfaces glow in shades of white and deep blue, reflecting sunlight in ways that make the entire landscape look almost otherworldly. Stepping onto the Antarctic shoreline feels like entering a completely different planet. The ground crunches beneath your boots as you walk across snow that may have fallen decades ago. The air is crisp and incredibly pure, and the cold wind reminds you just how powerful nature can be in this extreme environment. Despite the harsh conditions, Antarctica is far from lifeless. In fact, some of the most fascinating wildlife on Earth thrives here. One of the first animals visitors encounter is the charming penguin. Colonies of these birds gather along the icy coastline, waddling across the snow in groups that can number in the thousands. Among the most famous species is the emperor penguin, the largest of all penguins, standing tall against a frozen wind. These remarkable birds have adapted to survive temperatures that would be unbearable for most creatures. Their thick feathers and tightly packed colonies help them endure the brutal Antarctic winter. In the surrounding ocean, the waters are surprisingly rich with life. Beneath the surface swims an incredible variety of marine animals. Massive whales migrate here to feed in the nutrient-rich waters, including the enormous blue whale, the largest animal that has ever lived on our planet. Seals rest on floating ice platforms, occasionally sliding into the freezing water with graceful ease. Their playful curiosity often brings them close to boats and divers, offering rare glimpses into the daily life of this remote ecosystem. But Antarctica's true spectacle lies in its ice. Towering glaciers slowly move toward the ocean, their immense weight pushing forward inch by inch over centuries. When large pieces break away and fall into the sea, the event creates a dramatic explosion of sound known as calving. The thunderous crack echoes across the icy landscape as new icebergs are born. Some of these glaciers form enormous ice cliffs that stretch for kilometers along the coast. Their surfaces glow with brilliant blue veins formed by compressed ice, revealing layers that hold thousands of years of frozen history. Scientists travel to Antarctica not only for its beauty, but also for its importance in understanding Earth's climate. Deep ice cores drilled from the continent reveal ancient air bubbles trapped within the ice, providing clues about the planet's atmosphere from hundreds of thousands of years ago. This research helps scientists understand how our climate has changed over time and how it may continue to change in the future. Antarctica, in many ways, acts like a giant natural archive of Earth's environmental history. Yet, even here, in one of the most isolated places on the planet, the effects of climate change are becoming visible. Rising global temperatures are causing glaciers to melt faster, slowly reshaping parts of the Antarctic coastline. Protecting this frozen wilderness has therefore become one of the most important challenges facing scientists and world leaders today. As the Antarctic day begins to fade, the landscape transforms once again. The low sun casts golden light across the ice, creating long shadows that stretch across the frozen ground. Icebergs glow softly, in shades of orange and pink, and the sky becomes a canvas of gentle colors reflecting off the snow. In these quiet moments, Antarctica feels almost unreal. It is a place where time seems slower, where the natural world still dominates, and where humans remain only temporary visitors in a vast and powerful environment. Standing here, surrounded by endless ice and sky, it becomes clear that Antarctica represents one of the last true frontiers on Earth. But our journey across the planet's wildest landscapes is only beginning. From the frozen silence of the south, we now travel north toward a land where fire and ice collide, where volcanoes shape the ground beneath your feet, and where waterfalls crash down cliffs carved by ancient glaciers. What if there were a place where the Earth feels alive beneath your feet? A land where fire erupts from deep within the planet, while ancient glaciers slowly carve their way across the mountains. A place where boiling geothermal springs bubble beside frozen ice fields, and waterfalls thunder down cliffs shaped by thousands of years of natural forces. Welcome to the extraordinary island of Iceland, one of the most dramatic and wild landscapes on Earth. Located in the North Atlantic Ocean, Iceland sits directly on the boundary between two massive tectonic plates. Deep beneath the island, powerful volcanic activity constantly reshapes the terrain, creating a land that feels raw, unpredictable, and breathtakingly beautiful. From the moment you arrive, the scenery feels unlike anywhere else on the planet. Vast fields of black volcanic rock stretch across the horizon, covered in soft green moss that seems to glow against the dark earth. These lava fields were once rivers of molten rock, flowing from powerful eruptions, slowly cooling into the rugged landscape that exists today. In the distance, towering volcanoes rise above the land like silent guardians of the island. Some are dormant, resting quietly beneath thick layers of snow and ice, while others occasionally remind the world of their presence with dramatic eruptions. One of the most famous volcanic events occurred at Eyjafjallajökull, whose eruption sent massive clouds of ash into the atmosphere and temporarily disrupted air travel across Europe. Yet for Icelanders, volcanic activity is simply part of life on an island shaped by powerful geological forces. Water plays an equally important role in Iceland's landscape. Glaciers cover nearly 10% of the island, forming enormous frozen rivers that slowly slide across the mountains. The largest of these is Vatnajökull Glacier, a vast ice cap that hides active volcanoes beneath its thick frozen surface. During the summer months, melting glacier water feeds hundreds of rivers and waterfalls that cascade through valleys and cliffs across the island. Some waterfalls are gentle and graceful, while others crash down with incredible force. One of the most iconic examples is Skogafoss. This powerful waterfall drops from a height of 60 meters, sending a constant mist into the air. When sunlight passes through the spray, brilliant rainbows often appear at the base of the falls, creating a magical scene that draws travelers from around the world. Another remarkable natural wonder lies beneath the surface of Iceland itself. Because of the intense geothermal activity below ground, hot water rises naturally to the surface in many parts of the country. These geothermal springs create steaming pools, bubbling mud pits, and dramatic geysers that erupt with incredible power. One of the most famous geothermal areas is Geyser, the original geyser that gave its name to all others around the world. Nearby, another geyser called Strokur erupts regularly, shooting boiling water high into the air in spectacular bursts every few minutes. The contrast between fire and ice creates an environment that feels almost otherworldly. Travelers can walk across ancient lava fields in the morning, explore glaciers in the afternoon, and relax in natural hot springs by evening. Perhaps the most famous geothermal pool in Iceland is the stunning Blue Lagoon. Its milky blue waters, surrounded by black volcanic rock, create one of the most unique spa experiences on Earth. Steam rises gently from the warm water as visitors relax in the mineral-rich pool beneath the cool northern sky. Yet Iceland's wild beauty is not limited to land alone. The island's coastline reveals dramatic cliffs, black sand beaches, and powerful ocean waves that crash endlessly against the shore. One of the most striking coastal landscapes can be found at Reynisfjara Beach. Here, towering basalt columns rise beside the shoreline like giant stone pillars formed by ancient volcanic eruptions. The dark sand and roaring Atlantic waves create a powerful and almost mysterious atmosphere. But perhaps the most magical moments in Iceland occur when night falls during the long winter months. As darkness settles across the sky, a breathtaking natural light show sometimes begins to appear above the horizon. This phenomenon, known as the aurora borealis, fills the sky with glowing ribbons of green, purple, and blue light that move silently across the stars. Watching the northern lights dance above Iceland's rugged landscape feels like witnessing one of nature's greatest masterpieces. For centuries, Icelanders believed these lights were messages from the spirit world or reflections of celestial battles in the heavens. Even today, the experience remains deeply emotional for those who see it for the first time. Iceland is a land where nature never feels calm or predictable. The ground may shake, volcanoes may awaken, glaciers may shift, and storms may suddenly sweep across the landscape. Yet within that constant change lies the island's greatest beauty. Iceland reminds us that the Earth is not static. It is alive, constantly shaping and reshaping the world we live in. Exploring Iceland means witnessing the planet's raw, creative power in action. It is a place where fire and ice exist side by side, where landscapes feel ancient yet constantly evolving. But our journey to the most wild places on Earth continues. Leaving the volcanic island behind, we now travel toward the southern edge of South America, where towering mountains, roaring winds, and massive glaciers create one of the most remote wilderness regions on the planet. There is a place on Earth where the land feels endless, where mountains rise like jagged walls against the sky, and powerful winds sweep across valleys that seem untouched by time. A place so vast and wild that even today, large parts of it remain completely untouched by human civilization. Welcome to the raw and breathtaking wilderness of Patagonia. Stretching across the southern edges of Argentina and Chile, Patagonia is one of the most dramatic natural regions on the planet. It is a land of towering peaks, massive glaciers, turquoise lakes, and endless steppe plains where the wind never seems to rest. The journey into Patagonia feels like traveling to the edge of the world. Vast open landscapes stretch for hundreds of kilometers, with only small settlements scattered across the region. Here, nature dominates everything. The skies are enormous, the air is crisp and pure, and the silence of the wilderness is broken only by the sound of wind rushing through the valleys. One of the most iconic landscapes in Patagonia lies within the incredible Torres del Paine National Park. This park is famous for its dramatic granite towers that rise sharply into the sky, creating one of the most recognizable mountain silhouettes on Earth. These towering peaks, known as the Torres, glow with golden light during sunrise and sunset, creating a view so breathtaking that travelers from all over the world journey here just to witness the moment. Beneath these towering mountains lie deep blue lakes, rolling grasslands, and winding rivers that reflect the surrounding wilderness like a mirror. Wildlife also thrives in this rugged environment. Graceful guanacos roam the plains in small herds, while powerful birds of prey circle high above the mountains. Among them is the magnificent Andean condor, a bird with enormous wings that can stretch over 3 meters across. Watching an Andean condor glide silently through the mountain air is one of Patagonia's most unforgettable sights. With barely a single movement of its wings, the bird rides the powerful wind currents that sweep through the Andes. But Patagonia's most powerful forces are found in its glaciers. Massive rivers of ice slowly move down from the mountains, carving valleys and shaping the landscape over thousands of years. One of the most famous of these frozen giants is the stunning Perito Moreno Glacier. This enormous glacier stretches for kilometers across the landscape and rises nearly 70 meters above the surface of the water. Unlike many glaciers around the world that are shrinking, Perito Moreno remains remarkably stable, constantly advancing and breaking apart in dramatic displays of nature's power. As visitors stand along viewing platforms near the glacier, they sometimes hear deep cracks echo across the valley. Moments later, enormous pieces of ice break away from the glacier's face and crash into the lake below, sending waves across the turquoise water. The sound of this event is unforgettable. It begins with a deep rumble, followed by a thunderous splash that echoes across the surrounding mountains. It is a reminder that glaciers are not frozen statues. They are living, moving rivers of ice. Further south, the Patagonian landscape becomes even more remote and mysterious. Endless grasslands stretch toward the horizon, where powerful winds shape the terrain and clouds move quickly across the sky. This part of Patagonia feels truly wild. There are few roads, fewer people, and vast areas where nature continues exactly as it has for thousands of years. The region is also deeply connected to adventure. Hikers and explorers travel here to experience some of the most challenging and beautiful trekking routes on Earth. Trails wind through forests, across suspension bridges, and along mountain ridges that reveal breathtaking views at every turn. Standing on a high ridge in Patagonia, surrounded by glaciers and towering peaks, many travelers describe a feeling of pure freedom. The landscape feels so vast that it reminds us how small we truly are within the natural world. Yet, Patagonia is not only about dramatic scenery. It also carries a quiet sense of mystery and history. Indigenous cultures once lived across these lands long before modern explorers arrived. Ancient rock paintings and archaeological discoveries reveal stories of people who survived in this rugged environment thousands of years ago. Today, Patagonia remains one of the last places on Earth where true wilderness still exists on a massive scale. The balance between nature and human presence remains delicate, making conservation efforts incredibly important for protecting this extraordinary region. As evening falls over the Patagonian mountains, the landscape transforms once again. The setting sun casts golden light across the glaciers and peaks, while long shadows stretch across the valleys. The wind softens, and the wilderness becomes quiet under a sky filled with countless stars. In moments like this, Patagonia feels timeless, a place where the earth still moves at its own pace, untouched by the rush of modern life. But our journey across the wildest natural places on Earth is far from over. From the icy mountains of South America, we now travel toward a place of deep green forests, ancient rivers, and one of the most powerful ecosystems on the planet. Imagine flying over a sea of green so vast that the horizon disappears beneath an endless canopy of trees. Rivers twist through the forest like giant silver snakes, hidden beneath layers of mist and towering vegetation. The air feels heavy with life, filled with sounds that echo from every direction. This is the legendary Amazon rainforest, one of the wildest and most powerful ecosystems on Earth. Stretching across several countries in South America, the Amazon is the largest rainforest on the planet. It covers millions of square kilometers and contains more biodiversity than almost any other place on Earth. Scientists estimate that millions of species live here, many of which have never even been discovered. At the heart of this incredible ecosystem flows the mighty Amazon River. It is the largest river by volume in the world, carrying more water than the next several largest rivers combined. From the sky, it appears like an enormous living artery, feeding countless smaller rivers and streams that spread through the forest. Traveling along the Amazon River reveals a world unlike any other. Dense jungle lines both sides of the water, forming walls of green where sunlight barely reaches the ground. Giant trees stretch high above the forest floor, some growing taller than 60 meters, creating a canopy so thick it forms a second world above the land. Within this layered forest, life exists everywhere. Birds flash through the air in brilliant colors, insects hum constantly, and hidden animals move silently through the shadows. One of the most famous residents of the Amazon is the playful Amazon River dolphin. Unlike ocean dolphins, these unique creatures live entirely in fresh water and are often seen swimming gracefully through the river's murky waters. Further inside the jungle, the forest becomes even more mysterious. Massive tree roots twist across the ground, vines hang from branches like natural bridges, and the air becomes thick with humidity and the scent of earth and plants. High in the trees lives one of the rainforest's most fascinating animals, the three-toed sloth. Moving slowly through the branches, sloths spend most of their lives in the trees, perfectly adapted to a world where patience and camouflage are essential for survival. On the forest floor, the environment is darker and more intense. Hidden among the dense vegetation is one of the most powerful predators in the Americas, the jaguar. Unlike many big cats, jaguars are excellent swimmers and often hunt near rivers, silently moving through the jungle with incredible strength and precision. But the Amazon is not only home to large animals. Some of its most extraordinary creatures are much smaller. Brightly colored frogs, butterflies with enormous wings, and insects with unusual shapes and abilities fill every level of the forest. The biodiversity here is so complex that a single hectare of rainforest may contain more tree species than exist in entire countries elsewhere in the world. The rainforest also plays a critical role in the health of our planet. Because of the vast number of trees growing here, the Amazon absorbs enormous amounts of carbon dioxide and produces large quantities of oxygen, helping regulate the Earth's climate. For this reason, the Amazon is often called the lungs of the Earth. Its forests influence global weather patterns and support life far beyond the borders of South America. Yet the Amazon is not only a natural wonder, it is also home to many indigenous communities who have lived within the forest for thousands of years. These groups have developed deep knowledge of the jungle's plants, animals, and natural cycles. Many of the medicines used in modern science were originally discovered through plants found in the Amazon rainforest. Even today, researchers believe that countless new medicines may still be hidden within this vast ecosystem. However, the Amazon faces serious challenges. Large areas of forest have been lost due to deforestation, agriculture, and development. Each year, parts of the jungle disappear, threatening the delicate balance that supports its incredible biodiversity. Protecting the Amazon has therefore become one of the most important environmental efforts on Earth. Conservation programs and protected areas aim to preserve the forest and support the communities who depend on it. As evening arrives in the Amazon, the forest transforms once again. The sounds of daytime birds fade, replaced by the calls of nocturnal animals. Fireflies glow softly between the trees, and the jungle becomes a mysterious world of shadows and movement. The river reflects the moonlight, and the dense canopy above forms a dark silhouette against the night sky. In these quiet moments, the rainforest feels ancient and powerful, a reminder that nature still holds places where life exists in its purest form. The Amazon is not just a forest, it is one of the beating hearts of our planet, a place where life continues to evolve, adapt, and thrive in ways we are only beginning to understand. But our journey across the wildest natural places on Earth continues. Leaving the deep jungles of South America behind, we now travel to a land of endless golden dunes, where the wind shapes mountains of sand, and survival depends on incredible resilience. There is a place on Earth where the horizon burns gold under the blazing sun, where the wind moves across endless waves of sand, and where silence stretches farther than the eye can see. A place so vast and unforgiving that survival itself becomes a story of resilience. Welcome to the legendary Sahara Desert, the largest hot desert on our planet. Spanning across North Africa, the Sahara covers an area almost as large as the entire United States. From above, it appears like an ocean made of sand, with giant dunes rolling across the landscape like frozen waves. But the Sahara is far more complex than endless sand. Hidden within this enormous desert are rocky plateaus, ancient riverbeds, salt flats, and isolated mountains rising from the heat. During the day, temperatures here can climb above 50 degrees Celsius. The sun blazes overhead, and the sand reflects the heat in shimmering waves that make distant objects appear to float in the air. These illusions, known as mirages, have fascinated travelers for centuries, creating the feeling that water or entire cities exist just beyond the horizon. Yet, despite its harsh environment, life continues to survive in remarkable ways. One of the most iconic residents of the Sahara is the hardy dromedary camel. Perfectly adapted to desert life, camels can travel long distances across the dunes while carrying heavy loads, surviving days without water, and navigating terrain that would defeat most other animals. For thousands of years, caravans of camels crossed the Sahara, connecting ancient trade routes between North Africa and the rest of the continent. These journeys were incredibly dangerous, requiring expert knowledge of the stars, the winds, and the rare locations of desert wells. Even today, the desert holds reminders of those ancient routes. In certain areas, travelers can find abandoned caravan paths, old fortresses, and settlements that once served as resting points for merchants carrying gold, salt, and spices across the vast desert. But the Sahara is not just a land of sand. In some areas, life gathers around rare and precious sources of water known as oases. These small green islands in the desert create sudden bursts of life where palm trees grow, birds gather, and people have built small communities for centuries. One of the most famous oases lies near the historic city of Siwa Oasis. Surrounded by palm groves and freshwater springs, Siwa has been inhabited for thousands of years and once served as a spiritual center visited by ancient travelers and explorers. Beyond the oases, parts of the Sahara reveal dramatic geological wonders. Towering rock formations rise from the desert floor, shaped by wind and time into extraordinary shapes. One of the most breathtaking landscapes can be found in the Tassili Najer, where ancient sandstone formations create natural arches, pillars, and labyrinths that look almost otherworldly. Hidden within these rocks are thousands of prehistoric paintings carved into stone. These artworks reveal something astonishing. Thousands of years ago, parts of the Sahara were not desert at all. Instead, there were green landscapes filled with lakes, animals, and early human communities. These ancient images show giraffes, elephants, and cattle, evidence that the Sahara once supported a completely different ecosystem. Over time, climate changes slowly transformed the region into the desert we see today. As the sun begins to set over the Sahara, the desert reveals one of its most beautiful transformations. The blazing heat fades, and the sand begins to cool. The sky turns shades of orange, red, and deep purple as the sun sinks beyond the endless dunes. When night finally arrives, the Sahara becomes a place of quiet magic. Far away from the lights of cities, the night sky reveals millions of stars shining brighter than almost anywhere else on Earth. The Milky Way stretches across the darkness like a glowing river of light. In these moments, the desert feels timeless. The same stars that guided ancient travelers still shine above the dunes, and the wind continues to reshape the sand just as it has for thousands of years. Though it may appear empty, the Sahara is alive with history, resilience, and quiet beauty. It is a place that reminds us how powerful nature can be and how life continues to adapt even in the harshest environments. But our exploration of the wildest natural places on Earth continues. From the burning sands of North Africa, we now travel toward a land of ice and silence at the very bottom of the world, where glaciers stretch for thousands of kilometers and the coldest temperatures on Earth have been recorded. At the very bottom of our planet lies a place so extreme, so remote, and so mysterious that it feels almost like another world. A land where temperatures drop far below freezing, where towering mountains of ice drift across a silent ocean, and where human footprints are incredibly rare. Welcome to the frozen wilderness of Antarctica. Antarctica is the coldest, driest, and windiest continent on Earth. Covered almost entirely in ice, it holds nearly 70% of the planet's fresh water locked within its massive ice sheets. From space, the continent appears as a brilliant white landscape, stretching across the bottom of the globe like a frozen shield. But despite its harsh and frozen environment, Antarctica is far from lifeless. Along its icy coasts and surrounding waters, an extraordinary ecosystem thrives in ways that continue to amaze scientists and explorers. One of the most iconic sights in Antarctica is the presence of enormous icebergs drifting silently through the ocean. These floating giants break away from massive glaciers and ice shelves, sometimes forming structures as tall as skyscrapers. Some icebergs are so large that they can be seen from space, slowly drifting across the icy waters of the Southern Ocean. Among the frozen landscape, one of the most beloved residents of Antarctica waddles confidently across the snow. The remarkable emperor penguin has evolved to survive in one of the harshest climates on Earth. Emperor penguins endure brutal Antarctic winters, where temperatures can drop below -50 degrees Celsius. During this time, they gather together in enormous groups, forming tightly packed circles that help them conserve warmth against the powerful polar winds. Their breeding cycle is one of the most extraordinary survival stories in the animal kingdom. Male penguins protect a single egg, balanced carefully on their feet, while enduring months of darkness and freezing temperatures without eating. It is a powerful example of endurance in one of the most extreme environments on the planet. Beyond the penguins, Antarctica's surrounding waters are filled with marine life. Beneath the icy surface swims the enormous blue whale. These giants migrate through Antarctic waters during the summer months, feeding on tiny shrimp-like creatures called krill. Despite their massive size, blue whales survive by filtering huge amounts of krill from the water using specialized plates in their mouths. The nutrient-rich waters around Antarctica create one of the most productive marine ecosystems on Earth, supporting whales, seals, fish, and countless seabirds. Another fascinating resident of the Antarctic coastline is the powerful leopard seal. Sleek and fast in the water, leopard seals are among the top predators in this icy environment. They hunt fish, penguins, and other marine animals with incredible agility beneath the frozen surface. While wildlife thrives here, Antarctica remains one of the least inhabited places on Earth. There are no permanent cities or towns on the continent. Instead, small international research stations operate throughout the year, where scientists study climate patterns, wildlife, and the history hidden deep within the ice. One of the most important research centers is Amundsen Scott South Pole Station. Located at the geographic South Pole, this station allows scientists to conduct research in fields ranging from astronomy to climate science. Deep beneath Antarctica's ice sheet lies a record of Earth's climate history. Ice cores drilled from the frozen layers contain tiny bubbles of ancient air, allowing scientists to study atmospheric conditions from hundreds of thousands of years ago. These discoveries help researchers understand how Earth's climate has changed over time and how it may continue to evolve in the future. But Antarctica is not only important scientifically, it is also one of the most visually breathtaking landscapes on Earth. Massive glaciers flow slowly across the land like frozen rivers, carving valleys and cliffs that stretch toward the sea. When sunlight hits the ice at certain angles, the entire landscape glows with shades of blue, white, and silver. The silence is almost absolute, broken only by the distant crack of shifting ice or the call of seabirds flying overhead. During the Antarctic summer, the sun barely sets, creating days that seem to last forever. The light reflects off the snow and ice, creating a glowing landscape that feels both peaceful and powerful. In contrast, the Antarctic winter brings months of darkness. Temperatures plunge, and the continent becomes one of the most extreme environments known to humanity. Yet even in this darkness, Antarctica remains one of the most important natural treasures on our planet. Protected by international agreements, it is a place dedicated to science, conservation, and peaceful cooperation between nations. Standing on the edge of Antarctica's icy coastline, watching icebergs drift slowly across the horizon, many explorers describe the same feeling, a sense of awe at the raw power of nature and the beauty of a place that remains almost completely untouched. Antarctica reminds us that even in the most extreme conditions, life finds ways to survive, adapt, and endure. But our journey across the wildest natural places on Earth continues. From the frozen silence of the southernmost continent, we now travel to a place where fire shapes the land, where volcanoes erupt from the sea, and where glowing rivers of lava transform the landscape. Imagine standing on the edge of a black volcanic cliff while the ocean crashes below and a glowing river of molten lava slowly pours into the sea. The ground beneath your feet was once liquid fire, shaped by powerful forces deep inside the earth. Welcome to the extraordinary volcanic islands of Hawaii, one of the most dramatic natural landscapes on our planet. Rising from the vast Pacific Ocean, Hawaii is a chain of volcanic islands created by powerful eruptions over millions of years. Beneath the ocean floor lies a hot spot in the Earth's mantle, a place where molten rock continuously rises upward. As the Pacific tectonic plate slowly moves across this hotspot, new volcanoes form, creating island after island in a long arc across the ocean. The result is a stunning landscape where mountains, forests, waterfalls, and volcanic fields exist side by side. At the heart of this volcanic world stands one of the most famous volcanoes on Earth, Mauna Loa. Mauna Loa is the largest volcano on our planet by volume and area. When measured from the ocean floor to its summit, it rises more than 10 kilometers, making it taller than Mount Everest. From base to peak, its massive slopes stretch across much of the island, formed by countless lava flows that have shaped the land over hundreds of thousands of years. Nearby lies another legendary volcano, Kilauea, one of the most active volcanoes in the world. For decades, Kilauea has erupted repeatedly, sending glowing rivers of lava across the landscape and creating new land where the molten rock meets the sea. Watching lava flow into the ocean is one of the most incredible natural sights imaginable. As the bright orange lava touches the cold water, enormous clouds of steam rise into the sky. The rock cools instantly, forming new black volcanic cliffs that slowly extend the island farther into the ocean. Despite its fiery origins, Hawaii is also home to lush tropical ecosystems. Rainfall from the surrounding ocean feeds dense forests filled with towering trees, colorful flowers, and rare species found nowhere else on Earth. One of the most magical places to experience Hawaii's natural beauty is Napali Coast. Here, massive green cliffs rise sharply from the Pacific Ocean, carved by millions of years of rainfall and erosion. Waterfalls pour down the cliffs like silver ribbons, and deep valleys stretch inland through thick jungle. Because the terrain is so rugged, much of the Napali Coast remains untouched, accessible only by boat, helicopter, or challenging hiking trails. The islands are also surrounded by vibrant coral reefs that support an extraordinary underwater world. In the clear blue waters, sea turtles glide gracefully through coral gardens, while schools of tropical fish flash through the sunlight. One of the most beloved ocean residents here is the gentle green sea turtle. These ancient creatures have lived in Earth's oceans for more than 100 million years, long before humans appeared. Slowly moving through warm Hawaiian waters, green sea turtles often come ashore to rest on quiet beaches, becoming a symbol of the island's peaceful natural beauty. Another remarkable resident of Hawaii's forests is the colorful iwi. With its bright red feathers and curved beak, this bird plays an important role in pollinating native plants throughout the islands. Because Hawaii is one of the most isolated island chains on Earth, many of its plants and animals evolved in complete isolation. This has created an ecosystem filled with unique species found nowhere else on the planet. As evening arrives across the islands, Hawaii reveals another side of its natural beauty. The sky begins to glow with deep shades of orange and purple as the sun slowly sinks into the Pacific Ocean. From the slopes of Mauna Loa, the view stretches endlessly across the ocean. Waves crash gently against the lava rock shoreline, and the air carries the scent of salt and tropical flowers. As darkness falls, the stars appear above the islands in incredible clarity. Because Hawaii lies far from major cities and light pollution, the night sky here is one of the most spectacular in the world. High above the clouds, the summit of Mauna Kea has become one of the most important locations for astronomical observation. Powerful telescopes there study distant galaxies, stars, and planets, helping humanity understand the vast universe beyond our world. In many ways, Hawaii is a place where Earth's greatest forces meet. Fire rises from deep within the planet, water surrounds the islands from every direction, and life flourishes in the space between. It is a land born from volcanoes, shaped by the ocean, and filled with extraordinary beauty. Standing on the edge of a Hawaiian cliff, while waves crash below and lava glows in the distance, it becomes clear why these islands are considered one of the most incredible natural wonders on Earth. But our journey across the wildest natural places on the planet is not over yet. From these volcanic islands in the Pacific Ocean, we now travel to a land of towering stone walls, ancient rivers, and one of the most breathtaking geological formations ever carved by nature. There are places on Earth so vast that standing at their edge makes you feel both small and amazed at the same time. Imagine a landscape carved by the slow power of water over millions of years, where towering red cliffs stretch toward the sky and shadows move across the canyon floor as the sun travels across the horizon. Welcome to one of the greatest natural wonders on our planet, the legendary Grand Canyon. Located in the state of Arizona in the United States, the Grand Canyon is one of the most breathtaking landscapes ever created by nature, stretching more than 440 kilometers in length and reaching depths of over 1.6 kilometers. This enormous canyon reveals layer upon layer of Earth's geological history carved directly into the rock. From the rim, the view seems almost unreal. Waves of red, orange, and brown cliffs stretch endlessly into the distance, forming ridges, towers, and valleys that look like a giant natural sculpture. As sunlight shifts throughout the day, the colors of the canyon constantly change, creating a living painting shaped by time. At the heart of this vast canyon flows the powerful Colorado River. Over millions of years, this river slowly cut through layers of rock, carving the canyon deeper and wider with each passing century. What once may have been a high plateau slowly transformed into one of the most dramatic landscapes on Earth. For geologists, the Grand Canyon is like an open book of Earth's history. The exposed rock layers reveal nearly 2 billion years of geological change. Each layer tells a different story about ancient oceans, deserts, and volcanic activity that once shaped this region long before humans existed. But the Grand Canyon is not only a geological wonder, it is also home to a surprising variety of life. Despite the dry desert environment surrounding it, the canyon contains multiple ecosystems from rim to river. High above the canyon floor, forests of pine and juniper trees grow along the cooler northern rim. As you descend deeper into the canyon, the environment changes dramatically, becoming warmer and drier. By the time you reach the river below, the landscape resembles a desert filled with cactus and rugged stone. Among the animals that call this region home is the impressive California condor. With a wingspan reaching nearly 3 meters, it is one of the largest flying birds in the world. Once nearly extinct, these magnificent birds have slowly returned to the skies above the canyon thanks to conservation efforts. Another well-known resident of the canyon is the agile bighorn sheep. These powerful animals are perfectly adapted to the steep cliffs and rocky terrain of the canyon walls. With incredible balance and strength, they climb narrow ledges and rugged slopes with surprising ease. For thousands of years before modern explorers arrived, the Grand Canyon was home to indigenous cultures who lived, traveled, and built communities throughout the region. Ancient ruins, rock carvings, and cliff dwellings remain scattered across parts of the canyon, telling stories of people who adapted to this powerful landscape long ago. Today, much of the canyon is protected within Grand Canyon National Park, one of the most visited natural parks in the world. Millions of travelers come here each year to witness its breathtaking views, hike its trails, and experience its powerful sense of scale. One of the most unforgettable moments happens at sunrise. As the first light touches the canyon walls, The cliffs begin to glow with soft shades of gold and crimson. The shadows slowly retreat into the valleys below, revealing details that were hidden in darkness only moments before. Sunset is equally spectacular. As the sun dips toward the horizon, the canyon becomes a glowing landscape of fiery colors. The rock formations seem almost alive as the final light of day paints the canyon in deep reds and purples. At night, the canyon reveals another kind of beauty. Far from the lights of major cities, the sky above the canyon becomes incredibly clear. Thousands of stars shine brightly across the dark sky, and the Milky Way stretches like a glowing river of light above the silent cliffs. Standing on the edge of the Grand Canyon, it becomes easy to understand why this place inspires so much wonder. It is not only a natural landmark, but also a reminder of the immense forces that shape our planet over unimaginable periods of time. Every rock layer, every carved valley, and every bend in the river tells a story millions of years in the making. The Grand Canyon is a place where time itself feels visible, where nature's patience and power have created one of the most extraordinary landscapes on Earth. But our journey across the wildest natural places on this planet is not finished yet. In the next chapter, we travel to a tropical paradise where crystal clear water meets white sand beaches, where coral reefs glow beneath the ocean's surface, and where nature has created one of the most beautiful marine ecosystems in the world. Imagine descending beneath the surface of warm turquoise water, where sunlight filters down in shimmering beams and an entirely different world comes to life. Beneath the waves lies a landscape so colorful, so diverse, and so delicate that it can even be seen from space. This is the magnificent Great Barrier Reef, the largest coral reef system on Earth. Located off the coast of Australia, the Great Barrier Reef stretches for more than 300 kilometers along the northeastern shoreline. It is not just a single reef, but a vast network of thousands of individual reefs and hundreds of islands, forming one of the most extraordinary marine ecosystems ever discovered. From above, the reef appears like a living mosaic of blues and greens, shifting with the tides and sunlight. But its true beauty is revealed underwater, where vibrant coral formations create underwater cities filled with life. Coral may look like rock, but it is actually made up of tiny living organisms called polyps. These polyps work together in massive colonies, building intricate structures over many years. Slowly, layer by layer, they create reefs that provide shelter and food for thousands of marine species. Swimming through this underwater world feels like entering another planet. Brightly colored fish move in synchronized schools, weaving through coral branches shaped like trees, fans, and spirals. Each corner of the reef holds something new to discover. Among the reef's most graceful residents is the gentle humpback whale. Each year, these massive creatures migrate through the waters near the reef, traveling thousands of kilometers between feeding and breeding grounds. Hearing a whale's song echo through the ocean is an unforgettable experience, as their sounds can travel vast distances underwater. The reef is also home to the iconic clownfish. Made famous around the world, these small but vibrant fish live among sea anemones, forming a unique partnership. The anemone provides protection with its stinging tentacles, while the clownfish helps keep it clean and healthy. Another remarkable resident of the reef is the majestic green sea turtle. These ancient reptiles glide effortlessly through the water, feeding on seagrass and algae. Many green sea turtles return to the same beaches where they were born to lay their eggs, continuing a life cycle that has existed for millions of years. But the Great Barrier Reef is more than just a collection of beautiful creatures. It is a vital part of our planet's environmental balance. Coral reefs protect coastlines from powerful storms, support fisheries that feed millions of people, and provide habitat for an incredible range of marine life. The reef's health depends on a delicate balance of temperature, sunlight, and water quality. Because corals are sensitive to changes in their environment, rising ocean temperatures and pollution pose serious challenges. When stressed, corals can experience a process known as bleaching, where they lose the tiny algae that give them color and energy. Conservation efforts are now working around the world to protect this natural wonder. Marine protected areas, scientific research, and sustainable practices aim to preserve the reef for future generations. Visiting the Great Barrier Reef is an experience that leaves a lasting impression. Whether snorkeling near shallow coral gardens or diving deeper into the reef's vibrant structures, the sense of wonder is immediate. It is a reminder that beneath the ocean's surface exists a world just as rich and complex as any forest or mountain range. As the day progresses, sunlight transforms the reef's appearance. In the morning, clear beams of light illuminate the corals in brilliant detail. By midday, the water glows in shades of blue and turquoise. As evening approaches, the reef becomes quieter, and the marine life begins to shift into nighttime patterns. From above, the islands surrounding the reef appear as small green jewels scattered across the sea. Some of these islands are covered in tropical forests, while others are sandy beaches where seabirds nest and waves gently wash ashore. One of the most famous islands within this region is part of the Whitsunday Islands, known for their stunning white sand beaches and crystal clear waters. These islands offer a perfect view of the reef's natural beauty, blending land and sea in one breathtaking landscape. At night, the ocean around the reef becomes calm and mysterious. Bioluminescent organisms sometimes create glowing effects in the water, producing soft flashes of light with every movement. Under the moonlight, the reef feels peaceful and timeless. Standing on the shore and looking out across the endless horizon, it becomes clear that the Great Barrier Reef is not just a destination. It is a living system that supports life on a massive scale, a reminder of the interconnectedness of our planet's ecosystems. From icy continents to fiery volcanoes, from vast deserts to deep rainforests, and now to this underwater paradise, our journey has shown the extraordinary diversity of Earth's wildest places. The Great Barrier Reef represents both beauty and responsibility. It reminds us that these natural wonders are not only breathtaking to see, but essential to protect. As our cinematic journey across the world's most amazing natural landscapes comes to an end, we are left with a powerful realization. Our planet is filled with fire, ice, forests, deserts, mountains, rivers, and oceans, each playing a vital role in the story of Earth. From the frozen silence of Antarctica to the glowing waters of Australia, nature continues to inspire, challenge, and amaze us. The wildest places on Earth are not just destinations on a map. They are living masterpieces shaped by time, powered by natural forces, and sustained by delicate balance.